My interviewee experienced a strong supportive family as a child. I do believe this helped her to be a successful adult. She took those supportive experiences and translated them to her own family values as an adult. She was very involved in her community. This included her neighbors, her children's elementary school, and neighborhood organizations like the PAL Center, in which her children were highly involved in. PAL Center meaning the Police Athletic League. She was hindered early in her adult life. Like I mentioned before, she became pregnant at 19. This led her to quit college in her first year, and being as though she was undereducated, she became consistently overworked as an adult. She was left with few career opportunities. As an additional theoretical perspective, I chose to apply the ecological theory to my interviewee's life story. I'll move through the components and offer some insight as to how this theory would apply. Ecological theory relies on the idea that people are actively involved in their environment and therefore in their own development. So, we consider the individual, the many environments present, and the interaction between the two. My interviewee in her adult life was and is a hardworking individual who values family. She's very active in her community and in her children's lives. Perception also plays a big part in ecological theory, as well as the meaning we place on our own experiences. My interviewee her second husband was severely ill, both mentally and physically. She feels cheated out of a relationship with this man. This perception is a culmination of decades of working hard to support her family, only, in her own words, to always be one step behind her husband's mental illnesses. Components within the ecological system are as follows. Adaptation is the ability to adjust. My interviewee worked many jobs. She was flexible in living situations, and she was really able to take on the many challenges she was faced with. Coping is the way we deal with negative experiences. My interviewee would spend entire days reading, does continue to spend entire days reading. This could be viewed as a healthy coping mechanism, a way to escape for a while. Energy can be described as our engagement with our environment, and this would be displayed through input or output. My interviewee had, I would say, equal levels of input and output. She gave a lot. She also felt supported by her many environments, with the exception of her husband. Interdependence is the mutual relationships we have with others and with our environment. My interviewee had a high level of interdependence with her community, not so much with her husband, as he was not entirely functioning. Transactions can be described as the interactions we have with others and our environment, and these are both positive and negative. Within her community, my interviewee had a lot of positive interactions. However, at home, not so much. Her husband, as I mentioned before, did not seek out mental health treatment, and he drank every day as his own coping mechanism. Negative experiences or transactions with the VA also existed, as they did not support her husband as he was going through his mental illnesses. There are 4 systems within ecological theory. They are the microsystem, that is the immediate environment, school, home, work, even the playground. The mesosystem would be described as the system of microsystems, and this would be displayed in the work-life balance, home and school, neighbors and family. And then you have the exosystem, which is the system in which you may not directly be involved in, but it does affect you. So maybe your children's school, the community center, in my interviewee's case, the VA, and then you have the macro system, the larger cultural factors, which would be laws, politics, cultural beliefs. My interviewee definitely did not have a healthy work-life balance. I'm not sure if she had the option to. Cultural beliefs existing within the macro system as far as mental health didn't work in her favor either. There are limitations to all theories. I'll discuss those of Erikson's theory. First, this theory, like most, cannot take into consideration all the differences in individuals' environments, systems, varying rates of development, and external features. So, what this means is we need to ask ourselves, can this theory be applied to every situation and every client? Another limitation are the different views of crisis components. This includes how some define components as well as how they are measured. As I stated earlier, some see generativity and stagnation as existing on a bipolar linear scale, where if generativity is high, stagnation must be low, and vice versa. These differences in views can create conflictions when evaluating clients. Societal norms also drive limitations. Some researchers argue that generativity, for example, is inherently more apparent in women given their traditional caretaker responsibilities. Also, it is being observed that the LGBTQ population potentially moves through development unique to Erikson's theory. A final limitation deals with misaligned notions as to how we must progress through the various stages. Currently, it is disputed among researchers whether one crisis needs to be resolved in order to initiate the next, or can we exist in multiple stages at once? Without clarification, it can be difficult to assess a client's development using Erikson's theory. That concludes my oral presentation. Thank you for your time.